Hey everyone, I hope you had a great day. Today we are looking at some new malicious compliance stories. I hope you enjoy them. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button, it really helps. And now let's start with the first story, shall we? The first story is called Just Following Your Memo. Prior to my retirement, I was working a retail job with a quasi-state agency that controls retail stores in my state. In our old store, we had a buzzer at each register that rang in the warehouse in case we needed help or a customer needed a case of something. Then the powers that be decided to move us to a new, bigger store. Of course, this being a state operation, where the store is much bigger, the staff is exactly the same. We now have 4 times the warehouse, 4 times the retail space, and the same number of people and hours. Everything is always, you need to do more with less. I got sick of this, and I'm vindictive by nature. I've been called the Iceman, because I can ignore anything. So, if I was on the register, I stayed at the register, until I was told to do something else. The managers were not happy. Then they started playing a game. One of the 2 managers on the shift would go back into the warehouse to check things, aka vape. Vaping is not allowed in the stores. In short order, the other manager would join the first. And then the other 2 clerks would head to the warehouse, leaving me alone in the store. Now, at this new store, the powers that be had the buzzer to call the warehouse placed in the office instead of the registers. They put out a memo stating that employees are not allowed in the office without a manager present. So, in malicious compliance fashion, I kept ringing up customers. Other customers came to me asking for products that are locked in display cases. I inform them that they need to stick their heads in the door at the rear of the store and call for a manager. A manager comes out and talks to the customer. He goes to the office to look for the keys. Then he has to go back to the warehouse to get the keys off the other manager. Customers are not happy. And I proceed to tell them to complain to the state complaint office. The managers got really angry, demanding to know why I didn't ring the buzzer. I simply pointed out that their memo says that I am not allowed in the office without a manager present. Bottom line, there was nothing they could do about it. The next story is called, But I already worked 12 hours. I used to work for an assisted living facility in my hometown. Facilities like these are notorious for overworking staff and having a lack of people. I had worked in our memory care unit. I finally got 3 days off after working 28 days straight, half of my shifts at 16 hours long. The rest at 10 to 12 hours. Mind you, I was only scheduled for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I was resting in bed at home when I got a frantic call from my boss, 60 female, on my 2nd day off. She said that our entire evening shift staff quit, 4 people. And it would be me and a new trainee watching our 19 residents. Mind you, I would be passing medications, bathing, assisting with dinner, and training someone on their first day. So practically doing all of this on my own, with no breaks. I told my boss I really was not feeling well, and this is my 2nd day off in a row after working nearly a month straight. I did not want to do it. She begged, and I finally acquiesced. But only with the promise that she stayed to work the rest of the shift too, so I wouldn't be the only one doing the work of 4 people. She quickly agreed, and I got ready and headed to work. I didn't want my residents to suffer, and they surely would have if it was just my boss. She was insufferable and cruel. About 2 hours into the shift, I overheard the new hire tell our boss that she is missing her daughter's recital, and that she really would have liked to be there. My boss suggested that she can leave after I pass my dinner mats and dinner is fed to our residents. The new hire quickly agreed. I was mad, because we were about an hour out from dinner and none of the caregiving duties were fulfilled. I was still working on a pass that wasn't completed by the previous shift. Well, time passed, and sure enough, the new hire left. And none of the important caretaking duties outside of medications and dinner were done. My boss was of little to no help and didn't have an endorsement from our nurse to pass medications. Come 8 PM and I am in full swing of running between rooms to assist residents with all needs before bedtime, while simultaneously giving their meds. It was easier for me to get it done room by room. My boss, who had been sitting down the entire time, pipes up and says, "I am tired. Am I going to be able to leave soon?" I reminded her that the only reason I came in was on the premise I wouldn't work alone. She kept pressing me. And I finally snapped at her and said, I worked 28 days. I had only 1 day of rest. And I have been left by myself on a shift more times than I could count on both hands. I want to go home too. Heck, I could have been home. I came in to take care of my people because nobody else will. But that wasn't enough. I understand that, but I've been here since 9 this morning. That's 12 hours. At this point, I was done. So I finally looked at her and said, if you can let me finish my med pass, I will let you leave. How long? I still have 6 rooms to finish. Okay. I took up the entire rest of the night before the next shift came in, going as I had been before she talked with me. I even got the showers done. She was sitting down still, not saying a word as I moseyed along, giving my residents the care they needed. She didn't say a word. I texted my resignation to the head administrator and reported the facility to the authorities the next day. The third story is called, Actually, This Is Ours. So this happened sometime in the 2010s somewhere in the UK. I worked for a medium-sized PLC and a small team that worked with the sales department getting quotes. I had previously worked in another team in a different department in the same company as well. The company had recently had some issues with regulators, and senior management was either oblivious to the damage they were doing or didn't care. They were trying to save costs, but going about it all the wrong way. My team consisted of 6 team members and a manager. We were fairly busy and often helped out on other teams as well, and they would in turn help us. So we are all called into a meeting without warning and told that due to declining work tickets they were laying 2 of us off. They did say 2 people were safe, the manager and his sidekick. They made us reapply for our jobs, including doing a test, following the letter of the law on redundancy, which had nothing to do with our roles. It also became apparent during the process that the company flat out lied, or at the very minimum manipulated the data used to come up with the conclusion of falling ticket numbers. They dropped by 13 from the first year to the third. Bear in mind, it was a total of several thousand tickets a year. In the end, the company carried on, and 2 team members were removed and made redundant. One of them took a golden handshake, the other sued the company for various things, and won. After the dust settled, it also became apparent that the manager secured his sidekick's position. The sidekick was the worst member of the team in terms of work done and work quality. So in the weeks after, the entire team was too busy to help other teams, who then stopped helping us. And a huge backlog of tickets built up. We also got threatened with disciplinary proceedings if our backlog didn't come down. But we were refused any overtime. During the process, we had been admonished for skipping steps and getting quotes. Those steps often took a significant amount of time and served no purpose. So I and the 2 others remaining decided to do everything by the book, down to every last bullet point. This made the backlog of work even worse, but they couldn't say anything. One week we had another meeting with HR, the sales director and our manager to discuss the issues. We all calmly said, "We are sorry, but we have to follow the guidelines and rules laid down. And this is as fast as we can work." We were asked to start helping out the other teams again, as we should be team players. Again we said, "We are sorry, but we can't. Our workload is too high, and it's also not in our contracts that we have to do other teams' work." This went on for several months, and management still refused to believe we were overworked. When it was time for holidays, we realized they hadn't changed the number of people allowed off. So we all booked holidays. Of course, when the manager realized this, a week before, he went nuts and another meeting with HR was called. We all calmly said, "Sorry, but we checked the rules for our team, and 3 people out of 4 the manager could do what he likes can be off at any one time." Again, we stood our ground and all went on leave for 2 weeks each. This caused even more chaos at work, as you can imagine. The sales director, after this, hatched a plan to get the Indian teams, who had offices in India and other offshore places, to be trained up by us and to help us. However, they demanded we fly out to spend weeks there training them. Again, we all refused, as it's not in our contracts to be trainers or to have to work abroad. They also ignored the fact that I didn't have a passport at this point. So the poor old manager and his sidekick traveled out and trained them for weeks. Eventually, both stayed for over 2 months and failed to train them. We would send low-effort tickets to them and they would screw it up, and we simply said, "Sorry, to fix this we need to do it again." After 6 months, they gave that idea up entirely. After around a year or so of this, we all decided to all seek other employment. We all came to the conclusion that we could not trust the company or manager anymore. And we all found roles elsewhere within a week of each other, so we all handed our 4-week notices. This, again, was to the letter of our employment contracts. We were all due to leave on the same day. Now, one team member was very experienced in our field. She revealed that according to all our contracts, any documentation we create is ours. And we can do with it how we wish when we leave. So we hatched a plan. In the final week we are there, we move all our digital stuff to one location, including all my manuals and cheat sheets for my previous team. They both did the same with their previous positions within the company. On our final day, we bring in our own external drives. And with the help of someone from IT, we downloaded and removed all documentation and deleted the copies on the company systems. We all said our goodbyes and at the end of the day quite happily told our manager what we had done. He exploded and demanded it back. We calmly tell him, no, according to the letter of our contracts, this, waving the drives at him, is ours and we choose to remove it with us. We were later told by friends who remained there that the sales director had a fit, because now no one was doing quotes for him. Gladly, we all have had great new places and keep in touch. The last story is called Greedy Charity. Years ago, I was on the Charitable Funds Committee at my workplace. We collected money from employees via monthly payroll deduction. And at the end of the year, we would split what we collected amongst 5 popular charities. Half the money went to a particular international charity that supports other charities. They were known to have pretty high admin fees, which never sat right with me. They also demanded that we cut them a check early each year, prorated, to coincide with their fundraiser. They wouldn't wait till the end of the year when we cut the checks for the other charities. One year, a representative from them came to see our committee during their yearly fundraising blitz. We thought they would share inspirational stories about their organization's successes and perhaps thank us for the tens of thousands of dollars we collected for them each year. But oh no, that was not the purpose of this visit. They raked us over the coals, telling us we were not doing our part for a company of our size. And they insisted we revisit how we distribute our funds. They were rude and demanding, and I left that meeting absolutely angry. I decided to suggest to our committee that we take their advice and revisit our process on fund distribution. We subsequently changed our process. Instead of distributing the collected money to 5 charities, we started allowing each employee to donate to any registered charity of their choice. It was a lot more work for our committee to administer, but it was worth it. Turns out, very few employees choose that charity. The majority choose other charities, resulting in them losing tens of thousands of dollars, which they never received from us again. Let's just say the next year when the rep came to see us, I was delighted to tell them that we took their advice and revisited our process. And now we were letting our employees choose exactly where their donations went. Sadly, just a small number choose your charity. It was hard not to smile when I told them this year's donation would be a few $100s, not the $30,000 they were so disappointed with last year. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Please let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.